Do you know what psychology notices first when a woman finally sits down to rest? It is not relief. It is tension. The body pauses, but the mind stays alert, scanning for what has been left undone. Rest, for many women, does not arrive as comfort. It arrives with unease. A subtle pressure rises the moment activity stops, as if stillness itself requires justification. This is not laziness, weakness, or poor time management. Psychology recognizes this as a conditioned response. One that develops quietly and persists even when no one is watching. The guilt does not announce itself loudly. It sits silently beside her, asking questions she did not invite. Silent guilt is different from obvious guilt. It does not come with shame or self-blame spoken out loud. Instead, it shows up as restlessness during breaks, mental checklists during sleep, and the urge to do something useful even when exhausted. Many women report feeling physically tired but mentally unable to relax. This internal contradiction is not accidental. Research in psychology and sociology consistently shows that women are more likely than men to experience guilt related to rest, especially when they perceive others may still need them. This guilt is silent because it has been normalized. It feels personal, but it is structural. In psychology, silent guilt is not an emotion that appears loudly or consciously. It is classified as an internalized self-regulation response. It activates when a person believes, often unconsciously, that they are violating an expected role. For women, this role is not written anywhere, but it is deeply learned, to be useful, responsive, and emotionally available. When a woman rests, nothing visibly goes wrong, yet internally her mind signals discomfort. That discomfort is silent guilt. It is not about doing something bad. It is about not doing something expected. Psychologically, silent guilt operates below awareness. Women often do not say, "I feel guilty for resting." Instead, they feel uneasy, restless, or mentally preoccupied while resting. Studies in cognitive psychology describe this as role-based cognitive dissonance, when behavior, resting, conflicts with an internalized identity, being responsible for others. The mind attempts to reduce this discomfort, not by questioning the role, but by questioning the rest itself. One primary psychological cause is conditional self-worth. Research consistently shows that many women develop self-worth that is tied to contribution rather than existence. When contribution pauses, self-worth momentarily destabilizes. Rest becomes psychologically threatening because it removes immediate evidence of usefulness. This is why many women report feeling calm only after completing tasks, even when exhausted. Their nervous system has learned to associate safety with productivity. Another cause is internalized responsibility bias. Psychology recognizes that women are more likely to assume responsibility for outcomes even when they are not directly accountable. This includes emotional harmony, household functioning, and relational stability. When a woman rests, her mind continues scanning for unmet needs. The guilt emerges because rest feels like neglect, even when no one has asked for anything. This is not imagination, it is a documented cognitive pattern. A third factor is chronic cognitive load. Women carry a disproportionate amount of mental planning and anticipation work. Because this labor is invisible, it does not receive closure. Rest does not stop cognitive load, it only removes physical motion. The brain interprets this mismatch as unfinished duty, which manifests as guilt rather than relief. This is why rest feels incomplete for many women. Silent guilt also intensifies in women who are high-functioning or emotionally aware. These women are often described as strong, capable, or reliable. While these labels appear positive, they carry psychological weight. Being seen as reliable can create an internal obligation to always be available. Rest threatens that identity. The guilt arises not because others demand more, but because the woman has internalized the role of being the one who holds everything together. Another real-life factor is comparative pressure. Modern environments, especially digital ones, constantly display productivity. Women are exposed to curated images of others doing more, balancing better, or handling everything gracefully. Psychology shows that upward social comparison increases guilt and decreases perceived rest legitimacy. Even when alone, a woman may feel watched by an internalized audience. Rest becomes something to defend rather than enjoy. There is also a biological component worth acknowledging. Chronic stress alters cortisol regulation. Studies indicate that women under prolonged stress may experience heightened alertness even during downtime. This physiological state makes rest feel unnatural. When the body cannot fully downshift, the mind interprets the discomfort as guilt or restlessness. The woman may think she is bad at resting, when in reality her nervous system has been trained to stay vigilant. Importantly, silent guilt is not evenly distributed. It is more common among caregivers, mothers, eldest daughters, and women in emotionally demanding roles. Psychology identifies role overload as a key predictor. When expectations exceed capacity, rest feels undeserved. The internal narrative becomes transactional: rest must be earned. Until everything is done, rest is postponed. But in real life, everything is never done. What makes this guilt particularly damaging is that it discourages recovery. Rest is not merely a comfort, it is a biological necessity for emotional regulation, cognitive clarity, and physical health. Yet many women rest with tension, which prevents actual recovery. Over time, this leads to burnout that feels confusing because the woman believes she has been resting, when in reality she has only been pausing activity without releasing responsibility. Silent guilt also survives because it is rarely questioned. Many women assume it is normal to feel uneasy while resting. Psychology suggests that unexamined norms persist longest. When guilt is framed as personal weakness rather than social conditioning, it remains intact. Women attempt to fix themselves instead of recognizing the pattern. They try to rest better, manage time better, think more positively, without addressing the underlying belief that rest requires justification. Real-life interviews and qualitative studies consistently show similar language used by women across cultures. Phrases like, "I should be doing something," "I don't deserve this break," or "I'll relax after I finish one more thing," appear repeatedly. These are not random thoughts. They reflect an internalized productivity ethic applied unevenly. Men report guilt related to rest far less frequently, and when they do, it is usually performance-based rather than relational. Understanding silent guilt requires recognizing that it is protective, not malicious. At some point, this guilt helped women stay connected, responsive, and valued in their environments. But what once ensured belonging now undermines well-being. Psychology does not suggest eliminating guilt through force. It suggests awareness. When a woman can identify the source of her discomfort, the guilt loses some of its authority. Rest, psychologically speaking, is not the absence of value. It is the restoration of capacity. Women who learn to rest without guilt are not becoming careless or selfish. They are retraining their nervous systems to understand that presence does not require constant output. This shift does not happen overnight. It begins with recognizing that the guilt was learned, and what is learned can be unlearned. The silent guilt women carry while resting is not a personal flaw. It is a psychological response shaped by expectation, reinforcement, and survival strategies. Naming it does not remove it instantly, but it creates space. And in that space, rest slowly stops feeling like a violation and starts feeling like what it always was, a necessity, not a reward.